Hello everyone, this is part 15 of What If Naruto Was Neglected and Escapes to Kumo, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Naruto was awoken by Kushina the following morning at 4 a.m. He immediately snapped as memories of Tayuya's erased into his thoughts and monopolized his mind. His mother's calming embrace brought him back to the task at hand, and he created a horde of clones to prepare his gear. As the clones were doing that, Naruto went out back and summoned Virginia and Georgia in his training ground. "We stand ready to fly," Virginia said animatedly. Georgia nodded her head and nuzzled her beak into Naruto. "It is as my sister says. The whole clan is ready for takeoff." Naruto gave the two an appreciative look. "Thanks. Here is the plan. Georgia, I am going to send you back and you will pass this on to the Eagles." As Georgia dispelled, Kushina and the clones joined Naruto on the training ground. Naruto changed into his combat gear and overstocked on everything for the mission ahead. Kushina was to stay behind in the command center with Ai in order to coordinate the forces joining the assault from Nuazu. Naruto was going to fly to the border and rendezvous with his girls before he joined them in the search. Naruto and his girls would fly low allude with the Eagles over Rice Country, and Naruto's clones would be searching for the Horatian beacon that he gave Tayuya. With a final hug from his mother and Karui, he hopped onto Virginia's back and gave one final wave goodbye as the sun was beginning its greeting to the mountains. By the time Naruto reached the border, the first crack of sunlight was appearing over the horizon. He found his girls' camp with no issues, and Virginia landed gracefully just outside the camp. Naruto's feet had barely hit the ground before he was tackled by a number of females. Among the bundle was Samui, Mabui, Itachi, Amy and Maya. He took less than a minute to share his plan with the Eagles, and then the go command came through the communication scroll. Naruto, in his kitsune form, flared his chakra and was able to summon almost the entirety of the Eagle clan. 113 members of the Eagle clan formed up behind Meruka, and they each dipped their heads to Naruto. The Kumo shinobi in the area were gobsmacked by the rapid summoning of so many eagles, and they watched on in fascination as 113 Narutos formed and jumped on the back of each eagle. His girls each joined a clone on the eagles that would fly closest to the real Naruto, and then the eagles took flight in a anic gust of flattening winds. The real Naruto was riding Meruka, since he was the only one allowed to do so, and it would have been insulting to saddle her with a clone. As she soared through the air, he scratched her neck and spoke softly. "Lady Meruka, I am going to meditate and feel for the Horatian beacon. I ask you to keep us at about 150 to 200 feet allude. Mid-speed should be fine, I just need to get a ping on the beacon, and we can attack from there." "Understood, Ruto. Can I join you in the battle?" Meruka asked. Naruto chuckled despite the tension in the air. "It would be my honor to fight alongside you. Now, it is time to let them know that they F up." Naruto and 112 meditating clones gathered so much natural energy that the air current rallied to his will in response. As the flight of 113 eagles soared over the border of Rice Country, a thick coating of Eulonimbus clouds formed in the sky and seemed to circle around Naruto. The clouds started a pure white before the air saturated with a thick static tension, and the clouds blackened in response. It took less than 5 minutes for the sky to darken from the blackening cloud cover before thunder echoed across the lands and lightning flashed across the skies. The Senjutsu storm was fierce in its intensity, and it saturated the air with electricity to the point that the air tasted coppery. Naruto willed the rains to remain contained in the clouds, which meant a lightning storm was moving into the land of rice paddies at an astounding speed. The winds were fierce as they propelled the flight of the eagles forward as they moved across the landscape in a spread-out V formation. Kushina and the others watched the clear morning skies darken to the south as the search began. Sheer massive formation of storm clouds moved in a storm front that made the onlookers shiver as they could feel the power from such a great distance. The lightning show put on was spectacular and terrifying in nature. The low rumble of distant thunder was menacing as every Kumo ninja watching the miraculous display was grateful that such a force of nature fought for them. From within the seal, Hikari was watching through the mental link, and every aspect of the powerful scene was exciting her in ways she had never been excited. She was familiar with the tension and anticipation that preceded a battle. She was familiar with the thirst for and revenge in honor of a family member. She was familiar with the surge of power that protecting one's own brought on. However, she was hopelessly unprepared for these feelings to crash into her all at once as she watched her through the seal link. She was so turned on by Naruto's protective thoughts accompanied by the display of power. On Naruto's flanks, each of his girls felt his protective aura and they did not fear the wrath of the storms. Mabui was filled with understanding and resolve as Mother Nature joined Naruto's cause. Samui was motivated by the inspiring beat of the rumbling thunder. Maya was a mixture of exhilarated and intimidated by the darkening skies and rapid onset storm. Amy was turned on and fully engaged by the flashes of lighting, and she truly understood why her father dubbed him the Tenshi no Raijin. Itachi felt protected amidst the chaos by Naruto's overwhelming aura. If one were to get a bird's eye view, one would see eagles extending for miles and miles. Each eagle was massive in size, and the winds from their beating wings flattened the terrains below and terrified the civilian population of Rice Country. The tension in the air was further emphasized as thunder rumbled like a menacing war drum. Lighting flashed in the skies like the stories of a wrathful Zeus, and lightning cracked the ground with increasing intensity and frequency as the flight continued. As America approached the Rice capital, Naruto could sense the panic of the population of the capital, and he got the first ping from Yugito's Horatian beacon. With only a thought, Kansas dove down with his Naruto clone and Mabui, and they went to reinforce and provide relief to Yugito and Omoi. Naruto continued with the rest of the flight for another 10 minutes before one of his clones activated the signal flare and dispelled to share its memories with the others. America responded to the guiding touch of her summoner, and she banked sharply in air as the formation of eagles turned toward the beacon. America closed the distance to the flare that was 10 miles away in under 3 minutes. By the time they arrived, there were already 50 eagles circling in the skies around their prey, and Naruto watched as Texas and Nevada dive-bombed a squad of Oto shinobi. He was pleased to see their bodies shredded by wind blades, and the terrified screams of Oto shinobi filled his ears and ignited the vengeful side of his Hanubi. After the brief distraction, Naruto felt the Horatian beacon within the base, and he told America to take command as he flashed into the base. Naruto appeared in a dingy underground room in a blue flash and crackle of lightning. His enhanced senses soaked in everything around him at lightning speeds, and he unleashed the potent aura of his kitsune form on the decrepit bastards in the room. Tayuya found, Naruto dropped a Horatian kunai and then flashed to Samui's Horatian beacon. Samui was surprised when she saw Naruto appear on the back of Georgia, but she breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Tayuya in his arms. She was surprised when he handed Tayuya off to his clone, and she closed her eyes in prayer when she saw him flash away without a word. The menacing feeling of his aura sent a shiver up her spine, and she knew that every man and woman in that base was basically a walking R. Naruto appeared in the medical exam room once more, and he took a calming breath to let himself think clearly. He would need any notes that they had on Tayuya to know exactly what they did to her. He created a couple clones before he walked forward and kicked the sliding door off of its hinges. Out in the hallway, Naruto sensed the panic of hundreds of shinobi, and a sadistic smile cracked upon his face. He crackled into his stage 1 lightning armor as he darted down the hallway towards the strongest chakra signature he could sense. Orochimaru was enjoying a nap in his throne room when he was awoken by the alarms blaring throughout his main base. This location of his was his most protected, and he had the most experiments here. He had fought off numerous Anbu teams from Konoha, and each time he ensured that there were no survivors. As he was about to rise from his throne, his loyal servant Kabuto showed up and knelt in front of him. Report, Orochimaru said in an almost bored tone. Kabuto pushed his glasses up on his nose and dipped his head. We are under attack. Every man we send to the surface is K almost instantly, but we have identified that we are being attacked by eagles. Their number is unknown. Eagles? Orochimaru asked in confusion. Yes, the eagle summons of Ruto Maki, or Naruto Uzumaki as we now know. Kabuto answered promptly. Orochimaru hissed at that information. Why is Kumo attacking us now? Is it all for that one girl? I believe so, my lord. Kabuto answered hesitantly. I have sent men to secure her so that we can use her as a hostage. Orochimaru nodded. He had taught this one well. Good thinking, let Ju go out of his cage and tell Guran and Sugetsu to greet our guests. Naruto was getting frustrated by the pitiful resistance of these puny humans. Not a single one had lasted longer than 10 seconds. He had continued moving toward the strongest chakra signature, but the one in front of him wasn't bad. That being said, when Naruto saw her form a pink crystal in her hand, it ignited his Hanubi because of the reports of a crystal user that I gave. So, you are one of those that came my friend and captured my sister. Naruto growled menacingly as tails and chains flickered agitatedly behind him. Guran was a strong and loyal kunoichi of Orochimaru. She hadn't felt fear in years, and the only man that could make he fear anything was the Snake Sannin himself. Despite that, what of it? We are shinobi. Some live, most die, and it is all for the glory of Orochimaru-sama. Naruto growled at that and lowered his posture as he took Heaven's blessing in a two-handed grip. Try not to die too quickly, I am going to rip you a piece by piece. Naruto upped his lightning armor to stage 2, and he lunged into a stab with Heaven's blessing. Guran was barely able to dodge the sword that was coated in a light blue, humming sheen of chakra. The kunai Guran used to parry the blow were each disintegrated as the Tempest chakra overpowered them in milliseconds. I am now going to call the Kekai Tuta version of Storm Release Tempest Release, to be explained later. Guran stood from the blow and was relieved that she was instinctively able to reinforce her body with her crystal release. She winced as pink crystal fragments clattered on the ground amongst the new rubble, and her eyes were drawn to the spot of impact. Her crystalline armor was cracked to miniature pieces, and she had to concentrate her chakra to repair the damage. That was how she used her moment's respite before she was forced to lunge to the side and roll to her feet as the glowing Hanyu broke through the wall with a spinning sword strike. Naruto quickly recovered from the missed blow, and he saw Guran starting a hand seal sequence. He disappeared in a flicker of lightning, and he caught Guran with a lightning lariat before she was able to finish her sequence. Guran heard an escalation in the chirping from the lightning, and she raised her head to see 4 chains wreathed in 2 different shades of blue along with white chakra sparking off of it. Naruto turned out of the doorway with a growl and sheathed Heaven's blessing on his back before running off deeper into the base. He could feel Orochimaru, and he knew that the Sannin was preparing for him. He felt another familiar chakra signature running on a lower floor, and he created 10 shadow clones to go deal with that. He had his target, and he was going to commit himself to that. Within the seal, Hikari was getting seriously hot and bothered. Naruto's the wrath she was feeling was controlled and aimed squarely at his enemies. This was proven when Naruto took 30 seconds to shred the cages holding some prisoners and created a clone to escort them out. Hikari watched and licked her lips as her hand began warming her up for what was sure to be an amazing session later on. Naruto tore through the plebs that Orochimaru called his men with ease as he approached Orochimaru's chakra signature. His enhanced senses could smell the snake amidst the overwhelming stench of the lab, and he knew he was through this door, and he was alone. Naruto mule kicked the door to Orochimaru's lair and saw the Snake Sannin standing at the ready with 2 massive snake summons behind him. Naruto flared into his lightning armor stage 3 and roared as he charged Orochimaru with no further words needed. Heaven's blessing clanged against Kusanagi as Naruto entered the opening rendition of the Barbarian's Tide. The style was fierce on its own due to Naruto's immense strength and speed. However, the speed and power granted to him by lightning armor, stage 3, was immense, and it made the D dance with the massive blade even more D. Orochimaru was more than a little surprised by the raw battle prowess of the Hanyu. His battle instincts and enhanced dodging ability were necessary for him to survive this fight. Each time the Kusanagi absorbed a blow, Orochimaru would skid back, and his arms would rattle. His snake summons covered his opening caused by the debilitating blows, but the enraged Hanyu was more than capable of disposing of the snakes. Manili, Manda's daughter, was nearly cut entirely in half before she dispelled, and her sea was returned to Manda. Naruto whirled on a dime, and in a crackle of lightning Mintoro, Manda's son, was pinned into the floor of the chambers with the greatsword pinning him to the ground through his skull. Naruto ripped the greatsword out of the ground as the body of the snake dispelled back to the summoning realm. Orochimaru used the time bought by his summons to summon forth something that should have remained S. Orochimaru used the impure world resurrection to summon Ori Uzumaki and Kato Uzumaki. Naruto didn't know who they were, but their Uzumaki traits were clear, and Naruto roared in frustration at the use of his fallen kin in such a despicable manner. Cousin, what are we doing here? Ori asked as she looked around the dark room. I don't know, cousin. The smell of D and this ominous chakra doesn't bode well though. Kato said. Ku, I have brought you back to fight for me. Orochimaru said as he placed the control tags in the back of their heads. Now, show me what you are capable of. Before the control tags could take complete effect, Orochimaru was cut in half at the waist by a lightning-fast slash from Naruto's katana. Naruto turned around after the blade clicked back into its scabbard only to see snakes erupt from either side of Orochimaru's wound and they bound the Sannin back together. Before Naruto could contemplate the disgusting display, Naruto was forced to dodge a sword swing from Kato. Orochimaru had been watching with a frown and he was ready to re-engage in the battle. He would have loved to place his mark on such a host, but he could feel the demonic chakra radiating off the man in front of him. Plus, the four tales were extremely interesting to him, and he had to know more. That being said, his opponent was faster and stronger than him, which meant he had to be more cunning. Orochimaru used the brief distraction to gather chakra and he hunched over before he used the formation of 10,000 snakes. Orochimaru's snakes were dispelled en masse as the potent lightning ripped through them and dispelled them. Orochimaru himself was forced to jump up onto the ceiling of the chamber to dodge the potent lightning attack. That was when he saw Naruto Kato before a tempest and the resurrected sea fell to the ground. Naruto's rage provided a brief opening, and he took a kick in the back from the female Uzumaki and stumbled forward. Naruto's body suddenly felt heavier as a seal activated where Ori's foot hit him. Being a seal master, Naruto guided one of his tempest chains to where he felt the seal absorbing his chakra. The tempest chakra flared into the seal and shattered it with ease as Naruto took a defensive position with his hand hovering over his katana hilt. Trapped in between the two remaining opponents, Naruto's lightning armor illuminated the destroyed underground chamber in eerie sparks of blue lighting. In a blur, Ori stepped forward to engage in taijutsu once more and Orochimaru was impressed by the kenjutsu display but that didn't stop him from taking advantage of the opening. He lashed out with the kusanagi. He roared out in pain as the poison burned his skin. However, with the snake Sannin reveling in his brief victory, he was in for a jolt as the chakra-conductive blade of the kusanagi channeled Naruto's lightning chakra into Orochimaru's hands. Orochimaru was jolted before he could let go of the kusanagi. Naruto ducked under a kick from Ori and was surprised that she was reformed already. He wrapped her in two tempest chains and repeated what he did to the male Uzumaki, and he saw the ash and dust surrounding the body crumple to the ground to show a random C. Naruto tossed the C away with disgust and looked up at Orochimaru who was still stuck to the ceiling. He glared at the Sannin, but he decided to talk. His voice came out in a deep and husky growl as he spoke, "Where is Archoi?" Orochimaru edged his head to the side. "Who?" Naruto's chakra flared and his tempest chains rattled. "The male on the team you ambushed." "Where is he?" Orochimaru wasn't intimidated by the Ki, but the chakra presence was starting to make him feel heavy. "We took him to one of the exam rooms. He was a fine specimen." Ku. Naruto's fists clenched and trickles of B fell to the floor as Naruto restrained his anger. "You will D today, Snake. For attacking and K those I consider family, you will D." Ku. Big words for once a young. "At the rate you are burning through chakra, you won't last long." After those words, snakes erupted from below ground and wrapped around Naruto. Before they were able to sink their fangs into him, the lightning armor cooked them. Naruto edged his head to the side and a feral smirk was on his face. "You are nothing special, Snake." Naruto gathered chakra to his tails in preparation for his next move. Orochimaru frowned. "You are a problem. You should be focused on Konoha, not me." Naruto barked out a laugh. "Konoha will get what's coming to it. You, however, will D today." Orochimaru hissed in displeasure. "Why not have me as an ally against Konoha? I K one of yours, but you returned the favor 100-fold to my men." Naruto scoffed. "You don't make friends with snakes in the grass. Plus, you marked my family. You marked an Uzumaki." Naruto escalated into a roar. Before Orochimaru could respond, he He was forced to dodge as the tails aimed forward over Naruto's shoulders and beams of electric blue, aqua blue and translucent white combined into a powerful beam that tore a 10-meter hole in the roof he was standing on and caused an explosion that filled the chamber. Light, wind and rain suddenly entered the underground chamber through the new opening. Orochimaru decided for a sneak attack in the chaos, but the Kusanagi clanged against a sword. Naruto pinged to get Orochimaru's position, and he weaved through hand signs for one of his more potent jutsus that was probably not smart to use underground. Naruto took a deep breath, flared his hands out wide and gathered wind chakra to them, and he breathed out the potent blunt force wind from his mouth before 8 wind blades followed the blunt wind that tore walls asunder. The wind style, wind blade gale, disintegrated everything in its path with the fearsome power of the wind. He felt the base starting to collapse and he jumped out the new hole he recently created in the ceiling. Orochimaru was recovering from the kick when a wind blast shattered the walls he just flew through, and then he was trisected by wind blades. Naruto emerged from the base and let his lightning armor fade. He was starting to feel the chakra drain, but he had much more in the tank and Hikari was more than happy to provide him some of hers. She was greatly enjoying the show, and with Archoi's body recovered, she knew he would no longer hold back. Plus, he was now back on the surface and in the middle of a storm. She knew exactly how much more powerful that made him. Naruto whistled and jumped into the air. Meruka dove under him and caught him before climbing into the sky. Naruto closed his eyes and clapped his hands together. He felt the wild winds, the powerful thunder, and he felt the static electricity in the air ready to respond to his beck and call. He went through a few hand signs as he continued to perfuse the air with his chakra. Moments later, his eyes snapped open, and he was holding a vibrant blue orb of chakra. Naruto had Meruka climb up high into the sky and he released the orb. Moments later, Meruka dive-bombed the ground that covered Orochimaru's underground base. The eagles that were circling dispersed, knowing that they didn't want to be anywhere near what was coming. A giant flash of lightning illuminated the sky as thunder roared into the heavens. The lightning gathered around Naruto and Meruka as they continued the dive towards the ground. The lightning shaped into the head of an eagle, and moments later a wide wingspan composed of lightning appeared behind it. Meruka sharply leveled out her dive when they were 50 feet from the ground, and the screaming eagle of lightning crashed into the ground. The explosion that followed was incredible as the power of lightning, empowered by natural energy, easily dove into the depths of the chamber and vaporized everything within. The Sage Arts Screaming Eagle was one of the more powerful jutsus Naruto learned, and the results could speak for themselves. Orochimaru had surfaced and found that there were eagles circling around his base, and one of them was flying high into the sky. He decided to fall back to live and fight another day. His loyal servant Kabuto was at his side and also looking into the sky. When they saw a bright orb of blue chakra get released, they were curious. When they saw a head of an eagle form out of lightning and plummet towards the ground, they both decided to get the F out of Dodge. When they saw the brilliant explosion of Raiten chakra that decimated their base, their jaws fell. Mabui was circling the base atop the back of Virginia, and both of them had sensed the immense release of chakra throughout his rampage through the base. When he surfaced, Mabui was going to join him, but Virginia advised against it. When the two watched Naruto used Sage Art Screaming Eagle, they were blown away by the display. Then, the brilliant blue explosion nearly blinded them as the roar of the explosion threatened to deafen them from well over a mile away. When Mabui's vision cleared, her jaw dropped as all that remained of Orochimaru's base was a 500-meter wide crater that was nearly 100 meters deep. Naruto circled low over the base, and he pinged his chakra. Orochimaru felt the ping and immediately ordered the retreat. He didn't want to fight all of these eagles out in the open. When Naruto's head turned towards where he felt Orochimaru, he saw the snake and his assistant disappear in a puff of smoke. Naruto roared in frustration before Meruka spoke and calmed him down. Naruto, that was a reverse summoning. He is now in Ryuchi cave licking his wounds. Meruka said. Can you get me there? Naruto asked, trying to suppress his anger to make sure he was showing his summon the proper respect. Meruka thought about it for a moment. Snakes were natural enemies of the eagles, but going into Ryuchi cave would be an open declaration of war on the snakes. With a summoner, and a sage at that, on their side, they would likely win. Especially if Orochimaru were K. Plus, from what she remembered, the snake summons were divided into 6 different tribes. With her mind made up, she answered Naruto's question with her own question. Will you promise to fight alongside us should we declare war on the snakes? Naruto growled, you are family. I will fight and die for my family. That is what today is all about. Meruka nodded her head and her beaked mouth cracked into a smile. You are truly a worthy summoner. Very well, we will assault Ryuchi Cave together. Meruka shrieked loudly, and the eagles formed around her. She led her eagles back to the Kumo border and they dropped off the passengers. Naruto told Mabui, Samui and Itachi what he was about to do. It was a testament to the trust his girls had in him that they didn't attempt to talk him out of it. With hundreds of puffs of smoke, the eagles returned to their nest. Assault on Ryuchi Cave. The summoning realm was a world populated by sentient animal species that each governed a piece of land. The land was decided by the summons and there were many wars in the past over clan territories. The eagles had a large chunk of land that included a mountain range and their territory extended to the Eastern Ocean. They had abstained from many of the wars that occurred over territory expansion in the last 2 centuries, but their summoner was calling them to war. Meruka talked to her clan and the elders of the Eagle clan decided to back her decision. With a summoner and a sage, the Eagle clan was ready for a fight. They were ready to let the summoning world know that they would fight once more. For the first time in centuries, the summoning realm would hear the screaming eagles. Naruto sat on Meruka's back as they flew over the domains of various clans. He was calming his chakra and eating to restore lost energy. Within the seal, Hikari was refilling his reserves and speaking to him animatedly. She was all revved up from the fighting and she was looking forward to the carnage he would wreak. The fact that he would fight a war for his family was another thing that she told him that she valued in her M. The summoning realm reminded her of how the demonic realm used to be. It was so vibrant and full of natural energy. It was beautiful, majestic and hummed with the vibrant life force of nature. The vibrant colors of various landscapes blurred into a swirl below the flight of eagles. The flight contained every warrior in the Eagle clan, and they now numbered 212. They would be vastly outnumbered by the snakes, but they had air power, and that advantage could not be understated. It took 3 hours for the eagles to arrive at the domain of Ryuchi Cave. Meruka and Old York shrieked as the skies filled with lightning and thunder. The rapid onset storm announced the sages of the Eagle clan, and it took mere moments for a great white snake to emerge. The snake was easily 450 meters long and it was clad in vibrant white scales. It was a majestic-looking albino cobra and the black slits on the golden irises of the white snake sage looked into the air in confusion at the flight of eagles. Meruka circled the great snake and saw that many much smaller snakes of all kinds were forming up around their leader. Meruka used the wind to project her voice. Snake Sage Yamata, we, the Eagle clan, demand recompense from your summoner, Orochimaru. The long tongue of Yamata flickered out of his massive head and he glared into the sky. What do you claim my summoner has done? Naruto stood on Meruka's back and projected his voice. I am Uzumaki Naruto, sage and summoner of the Honorable Eagle clan. Orochimaru placed his cursed seal on one of my kin and Ka friend. I demand the right to fight, or war will rain down from the skies. Yamata groaned internally. He did not like the man his son selected as a summoner, and he knew that man was in his caves right now. It was a cowardly act to retreat to your summons in an attempt to escape. His clan's reputation had suffered terribly in both the human and summoning realm due to Orochimaru. He saw this as an opportunity to get rid of him and possibly eliminate a problem child. Manda had grown too big for his scales, and this would either humble him or end him. He took nearly a minute to think before he responded. Your right is recognized by me, and your fight is with Manda's kin and his kin alone. Should you involve my other children, you will fight the vast power of the 6 snake tribes. Old York answered that, it is good to see you once more, old rival. Perhaps when this is over, we could scrap like we did back in the day. Yamata let out a sound that sounded like a chuckle. Very well, settle your business. Manda and his kin will receive no help from my other children and the summoner will remain here until this grudge is settled. I do not wish to keep my eyes on the skies for years to come. Manda and his kin reside 5 miles to the south in Beni Valley. You can take 10 with you, summoner. Naruto nodded. I thank you for this opportunity and I recognize your honor, great sage. My fight is with Orochimaru, And I have a great replacement for him should you decide to humor me once this fight is over. Yamata didn't respond, he simply ordered the snakes around him and Naruto saw them slither out in all directions with a purpose. America issued orders and she selected Virginia, Georgia, Maine, Tennessee, Texas, Alaska, Colorado, Wisconsin and Kansas to join in the assault on Manda's kin. The birds formed up in a V formation and their substantial forms rode the front of blackening storm clouds over the snake's domain. Lighting flashed in brilliant blue hues as darkness overtook this region of the summoning realm. Naruto's senjutsu was more vibrant within the summoning realm and it resonated sharply with his Hanyu chakra. The storm brewed faster than before, and sheets of rain poured down on the snakes as winds began blowing at gale forces. The wild storm didn't affect the eagles as they led the stormfront to their target destination in a majestic display of power. Once they arrived at the destination, eagles dove down to the ground and created tornadoes, others dove down on the front of a lightning bolt. Others still directed sheets of rain into cutting blades with their power over the winds. Needless to say, all of the snakes in this region sought cover from the devastating storm. Some crawled into caves, others burrowed on the spot and the remainder attempted to raise some form of chakra-based cover. Orochimaru had been recovering within the safety of the summoning realm. He had given the storm clouds an idle glance before returning to his business within the shelter of Beni Valley that was part of the much larger Ryuchi cave. He had one of his labs set up here per the agreement with Manda and he often used this place to escape from a pinch. As he caught his breath, he had been reflecting on his fight against Naruto. That boy was much more than he first appeared and Orochimaru had been wondering how he possessed actual tails. He knew of other Jinchuriki being able to summon a cloak made of their Biju's chakra and he knew that wasn't what he saw. That boy had actual tails and the amount of power displayed made Orochimaru drool. He wanted that power. He needed that power to accomplish his objectives and he could use that power to destroy Konoha. He just needed the boy to calm down first. It was only one girl and all he did was give her his cursed seal. As he was stewing within the cover of a cave, an intense storm kicked up and Kabuto ran into the room with a panicked look on his face. That alerted Orochimaru because his servant never looked scared. When Orochimaru s to his feet and hissed at him, Kabuto took a knee and reported to his master. The eagles are here, and they have summoned this storm. It is much worse than the one in our world. Kabuto blurted out. Orochimaru hissed and spread his senses. He could feel the intense chakra power and his minimal senjutsu training allowed him to feel the potent natural energy that were embedded in the storm. He knew that this wasn't where he wanted to fight, and he just needed to let the boy vent his anger. Once he calmed down, Orochimaru could use him against Konoha. Orochimaru shrugged. Oh well, looks like we will need to return. We can reverse summon to the southern base. Kabuto nodded and rose shakily as he approached his master. Orochimaru put his hand on Kabuto's shoulder and went through the hand signs. Then, nothing. They remained in place looking like the fools they were. Orochimaru tried again to get the same result and that was when Manda entered his chamber in a rage. Damn you Orochimaru. Manda hissed and lashed out with his tail. Orochimaru was fast enough to dodge, but Kabuto wasn't as lucky. The massive tail sent him flying into the wall of the cave before the bespectacled young man cratered into the wall. Orochimaru looked down impassively at Manda from atop the cave. Why are you throwing a tantrum now, Manda? I have provided sacrifices every time I summoned you. Manda's eyes snapped up and the slitted orbs glared at Orochimaru. You have brought war to my kin. The eagles are here for you and the white snake sage has left us to fend for ourselves. Orochimaru's eyes widened in concern as he understood why he couldn't use the reverse summoning jutsu. The damned great white snake abandoned him. Of course, his relationship with the white snake was never good, especially after Orochimaru dropped the sage training. It was too risky for him to continue, and the risk wasn't worth the boost in power. Ever since then, his relationship with the snakes had been tenuous at best. Orochimaru hissed in displeasure, then we must fight. Why are you attacking me? Manda shook his head in disgust. The eagles rule the skies. We cannot even be outside in such a storm. Orochimaru snarled at Manda, coward. Manda snarled and spit venom at Orochimaru, you are the coward. You ran from your fight and brought it to my home. Before the arguing could continue, both enemies covered their ears and closed their eyes as a gigantic lightning bolt disintegrated the cave roof. The rains poured down and cut into Orochimaru's skin while the winds blew his long hair wildly in every direction. Their argument would have to wait if either of them wanted to survive. That became more obvious as eagles began dive-bombing their position. Orochimaru was rattled enough by the lightning bolt that exploded at his feet. The residual electrical energy still numbed his legs, and he was forced to dodge as Naruto descended from the sky. However, he wasn't expecting the explosion of power that resulted from the landing. Orochimaru's lower body was disintegrated by the cutting wind blades and his torso bounced off the cave wall. Naruto had been searching for Orochimaru's chakra signature and it became apparent where he was when the roof of the cave was shattered by the wonderful power of lightning. The light from the majestic clash of lightning illuminated the pale form of Orochimaru and the giant purple form of Manda. Naruto jumped off Merika's back and used his sage chakra wings to dive-bomb Orochimaru. He gathered the power of the storm behind him and formed it into Sage Art, Wrath of Heaven. As Naruto plummeted from the clouds, a dragon made from the raw power of the storm formed behind him and chased him down. As he was 100 meters over the ground, the dragon's maw engulfed him and as he landed, he released his control over the energy in a majestic explosion. The explosion encompassed the whole of the former cave and it dug into the ground nearly 100 meters deep. The unearthed snakes were shredded and electrified by the display of raw power. However, Manda was able to get away from the explosion alongside Orochimaru. Orochimaru pulled himself out of his former body and he glistened in his own fluids as he stood to his feet. That was the second shedding in 24 hours and each one sacrificed 20% of his remaining chakra. The snake Sannin was furious that the boy had pushed him this far and he was now trapped in a battle by his summons. A battle that was clearly not in his favor. He looked over at the boy that was basically glowing in the dark as vibrant blue lightning chakra encased his body. The bright blue was framed by ominous black thunderclouds and violent clashes of thunder and striking flashes of lightning filled the background. The electric blue eyes glared at him with enough ki to make him shiver. The stare down continued while Manda was in a fight against Merika until a flash of lightning struck nearby and the battle was on. Unlike the fight in the dank underground of Orochimaru's base, Naruto was in his element now. He was empowered by the storm and his Hanyu body vibrated with the potent and violent energy of nature. His vindication pushed him forward and Naruto unsheathed Heaven's blessing and carried it in his right hand. He pulled his katana with his left hand, and he held them splayed out to either side while he crouched them into a ready stance. 9 chakra chains sprouted from his back and glowed with the magnificent combination of Tempest chakra as 5 of them wrapped around his body. 2 formed into gauntlets after snaking around his arm. 2 chains wound down his legs and wrapped into greaves. The final chain wrapped around his torso and formed into an armor that created a tempest plate on his chest. That left 4 chains waving in a wild, yet controlled, manner behind him. Orochimaru's eyes narrowed, and he hissed as he drew Kusanagi. He was at a severe disadvantage in Kenjutsu, and he knew it. The fact that the boy had the lightning armor and chakra chains did not make this a fair fight. Before Orochimaru could seize the initiative, Naruto blurred forward in the same moment of the lightning strike. The series of blows landed on Orochimaru, but the body dissolved into mud. Orochimaru raised out of the ground behind Naruto and lashed out with the Kusanagi in his right hand and his left arm turned into venomous snakes. The sword was blocked by a tempest chain and the snakes shriveled from the lightning chakra before they could even strike. That armor put Orochimaru at a serious disadvantage. Orochimaru leaned back to duck the greatsword that lashed out in a powerful horizontal swing and Kusanagi blocked the katana. That was where Orochimaru's luck ran out. Merika shrieked as Manda's tail lashed out and clipped her wing. Despite that pain, her talons were clamped. She rose into the skies with the writhing snake in her talons and he called out the winds to assist her. The tail of Manda was lashing out before blades of concentrated wind slashed into the tail. The massive chunk of snake flesh fell through the air and slammed into the ground while Manda shrieked in pain. Before Manda could do anything else, lightning struck. The lightning struck Manda in the head and coursed through his body. For Merika, she kept her talons insulated with wind to keep the lightning at bay. She took joy in watching the snake writhe in pain and she knew that this was the end of Manda. She let out a battle cry that merged with the thunder and rallied her flight. The shriek of the eagle leader earned screams from her kin. The screaming eagles would see victory today. Orochimaru screamed in pain as a tempest chain. The shocking effects of the chain made it impossible for him to dodge the other 3 chains. The combination of water, wind and lightning began. Orochimaru attempted to use his shedding jutsu, but he got a chain through his newly forming head for his efforts. That left him too weak to do anything, and the jolting combination of chakra removed any further options. Naruto knew he had the slippery snake now, and he instructed his chains to pull apart. Naruto looked over and saw that, America. Far be it from Naruto to judge the victory celebration of his summons. He looked to Virginia and saw her eat the sea of Kabuto. Good riddance. He saw that the other eagles, all 8 of them, were devouring the remains of Manda's kin. Naruto knew why. Of course, he knew why. The eagles were majestic hunters, and they would never waste the bounty of their prey. Naruto let his lightning armor fade, and he let the natural energy return to the charged environment. With his rage sated, Naruto took a deep breath, and the words and calming phrases of Hikari entered his mind. With the bloodlust sated, everything became clear once more, and Naruto's anger faded. It was a trip for him. He had always been protective of his family, and his anger had always bubbled right under the surface, but that was the first time it had ever taken control of him. Just take a deep breath, Ruto. Just breathe, my love, Hikari said as she was helping him come down from the mania. She had thoroughly enjoyed the show, but that berserker was not the man she loved. She wanted her Naruto back. Deep breath in. Hold. Deep breath out. All through the nostrils. Naruto forced his body to calm and his beat to still. He concentrated on his rapidly beating heart and convinced it to simmer down to its normal rhythm. He felt his tense muscles and he unclenched his fist to let them rest. His red-hot chakra coils were burning, and he concentrated on letting them simmer down as he slowed the rampaging chakra. Deep breath in. Hold. Deep breath out. Virginia had finished her spoils, and he had turned to see Naruto standing there with his eyes closed and face up to the sky. She felt his chakra calming and knew that he was coming down from his first true battle high. She had never seen him so enraged or so intense. She had never felt the skies gather so completely behind any individual, even old York. The way nature resonated with his anger was so unique and entrancing. The way he rallied the whole Eagle clan so readily to his call was fearsome, and it was the mark of a true leader. Thanks, Virginia, Naruto whispered softly with his eyes still closed. Virginia shook her head gently and spoke back, nothing to thank us for. Your family is our family. Your enemies are our enemies, Naruto-sama. None of that. It is just Ruto, or Naruto if you must. Naruto said softly while America watched the scene affectionately as she guzzled down her bounty. It had been a long time since she had a post-battle feast, and she was grateful for this day. The great white sage staying out of the fight made it easier, but she still wasn't sure about 10 of her clan taking on hundreds of snakes. Of course, they were empowered by the majestic summoner of theirs. She had never seen the clouds rally so readily behind a mere mortal. She had never seen her clan rally so readily behind their summoner. She had never seen one so great as Uzumaki Naruto. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.